Okay, the Righteous Gemstones are back, and they just had their season 4 premiere, and this one's going to be the last season. That's what they say. Now, I'm going to talk a lot about the Righteous Gemstones because it's a show that I didn't expect to really like, and I have to admit, I sort of, in my youth, I was kind of this Christian guy, and I understand about megachurch culture. And the Righteous Gemstones is a direct satire of this type of culture. And it's not only doing that, but it's also taking it to the next level. The main characters of the Righteous Gemstones are essentially this pastor and his 3 kids. And they have one of the biggest mega churches in the nation. And they are rich beyond compare. They live in a place that they simply call the compound. Each of them has a mansion, and they live actually very close together. And the thing is about this show was, this feels like a show that if you know somebody who claims to be born again Christian, they will hate this show. But I don't think they should. I believe that what this is something that I actually really appreciate. I don't really think that this show is trying to be irreverent toward the gospel or Jesus or anything like that. But it is trying to show that what the biggest of Christians are doing, and it's not good. And I believe that this is something that we're really dealing with in our society now. Because as it is, Christianity is sort of the go-to religion for the Republican Party. And because of that, there are a lot of things that are toxic there, and the Righteous Gemstones really discusses this. So what's interesting is these 3 main characters, they are sort of they run this giant church, and you actually see them like dealing with other churches like gangsters. And that's what I think makes this show a little bit exaggerated, but I think this show is exaggerated on purpose. Which I kind of actually like. I mean, I like the fact that when a character goes to this Satanist party, I mean, it's everything that you think like a Satanist party would be, but you kind of went like, and I'm kind of going like, oh, come on. And I'm just kind of going like, yeah, I don't know. And I just sort of went like, I don't even know what to think of this. So this is one of those shows that I can't believe is made because it has a very big cast. It has like John Goodman, Danny McBride is in it. I think Andy Devine, I think his name is on this thing, and they play these roles really well, and this feels like a show that I can't believe is being made because I'm sure these actors are busy with other projects, and yet they still all come together and they give it their 100%, which I like. And honestly, I have to think that I can't really remember the major story arcs of the first 3 seasons. I do remember this, that every season seemed to end with the idea that they might not get another one. Especially season 3 felt like it had ended with a lot of finality. Like I kind of felt like, are we going to come back to this? So I'm kind of glad that season 4 is actually like, okay, we know we're wrapping up now. Because I kind of feel like, here's what I want to see in season 4. It's the same thing I want to see in real life, which is I want to see churches basically say like, you know what? We've been giving this stuff and we've been dealing with a lot of intolerance over the years. We have preached this thing, and from now on we're going to start empathy, and we're going to start really giving our money away to those who really need it, rather than hoarding it up for ourselves like Scrooges. And I would absolutely love to see that. And I think there's an issue with Andy Devine and Andy Devine's character, who's like a youth pastor, and he hangs out with all these muscle guys. And I think we're supposed to think that he's supposed to be gay, but doesn't really realize it. And if they go that direction this season, I would fully, I would go like, okay, fine. I feel like you're kind of laying the pipe for that in the first 3 seasons. As far as the other characters go, I'm not really certain what direction, because Andy Devine has like a brother who's played by Danny McBride, who actually created the series. And he's got a family of his own and is kind of dealing with issues there, but I don't really remember them. But I do remember the other sister. The sister in this thing reminds me a lot of women in Christian leadership. Very bratty, And I'm just gonna say that. If that offends you, I understand why, but just think of this model, okay? And I've seen this model in real life of what the righteous gemstones could be like. This actually reminds me of a church I went to often. So yeah, if you want to leave a comment on that, feel free. But essentially, the premiere, now I'm going to shift gears and talk about the premiere episode of season 4, because I was surprised they went this direction. But they basically decided to turn back time, literally, and show the first gemstone during the Civil War. And by the first gemstone, we meet the, ancestor of the gemstones, a man named, I think, Elias Gemstone or something like that. Anyway, so one day this guy, this gemstone robs a priest, and then on the day that he does this, people show up at the church saying that they need a chaplain, and these are the Confederates, and because this takes place during the Civil War. And so Elias Gemstone decides to assume the identity of this priest he's just killed, and to basically fake being a priest. And so oftentimes he'll be in this situation where he has to pray for people, and he doesn't know, he just kind of goes like, okay, I guess God bless you and stuff. He fakes this thing. So this is kind of the fake priest thing. So anyway, and then what happens is, like, he gets involved in something where he was actually gambling, and then somebody decides to get him to be a gambler. And since he's so afraid that somebody's going to out him, he actually kills this guy. So he's like a killer priest. And then later on, there's a big battle, and everyone in this Confederacy army gets captured. But he is let go because he's a priest. And they even give back this golden Bible that he was carrying. And I think that golden Bible is actually seen on the modern day Righteous Gemstones people, I think. Again, I don't really see I don't really see any tie in this thing for this. And so at the end of this thing, this character, you see him actually reading the Bible, and you get the feeling like, okay, now he's going to be a priest for real. This is actually a really good story. And here's the thing. I looked at the credits. It was directed by Danny McBride, written by him. So I kind of like the fact they started out this way. I actually think this is a really good episode of this series. And even though it might not exactly fit very well, like it's not in, like say if you skip this episode and you watch the rest of the Righteous Gemstones, I don't really think you would be out of the loop continuity-wise. Or maybe you would be. Maybe they actually have a plan to do this. But considering this took place like in the Civil War, how much of that stuff really, really carried over? I mean, we're going to see all the gemstones kind of carry over for this? Because I had thought that John Goodman's character was like a wrestler before he became a priest. And I thought that's where they got the idea of becoming this family of priests or whatever. I don't know. I might be... I think they've actually done a few prequel episodes of this show. I think I've talked about prequel episodes before, where the show actually goes turns back the clock and shows flashbacks of what happened before the series even started. A lot of shows are doing this now, and I think they actually had to CG de-age John Goodman, or I don't know how they did the effect for that. Honestly, Righteous Gemstones is a very big budget show for something that feels like they really have to have a big budget to show these giant stadiums that they're mega churches in and these mansions that they have. Actually, I'm surprised at how much they can do on this show. And this premiere, I mean, they basically set up a Civil War period piece, which just kind of blew me away. I just kind of went like, okay, I'm with this. So yeah, I'm going to recommend watching just this episode. Even if you've never watched a single episode of The Righteous Gemstones, watch this one episode and then decide like, okay, now I'm going to watch the whole thing and the first 3 seasons, and then eventually get to the 4th one, which I've already stated on how I believe this series should end. And I would love it if it did end, and that would be the ultimate happy ending. Or maybe this whole family, these Gemstone family, is just going to self-destruct. And if that happens, I would actually like that ending as well. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm Mark Rollins from the Geek Church, signing off.